Hello, and welcome to the arcade shooter system. In this video we're going to be going over the arcade light gun settings and some of the extensions that are available in that system. Right here we have the Decal Set system, which you can access through going to the Disney Media Arcade System Helpers Decal Set. And when you open up this little window right here, it gives you a few options. Currently we can set environmental options. In the future we'll be able to set up humanoid objects. So through the environment, we can see that we have an object type of an environment, and we have a few options. By checking the Use Enviro tag means that you can use one tag for the entire environment for the system to check. So instead of using individual tags like you would usually use, which would be wood, metal, concrete, in this case we're just going to use the environment tag and then add a component to those objects. So right here we have the decal holders, which will give you a few options if you open it up. Here we have all the different type of objects that you can shoot and the types that they will represent. So we have wood, metal, metal solid, glass, bulletproof glass, pottery, windshield, etc., etc. And based on this, that will auto set on the object that you are going to be adding the component to. So for this instance, we're going to use a metal solid. So here we have a use hit tag. Now the only time we would use the actual hit tag is if we're not using the environmental tag. This means that there won't be a component added to the actual object itself, and it will just utilize that tag to check in the decal manager. In this case, we're going to use the environmental tag, not the hit tag, and we're going to add some objects into this list here. So the beauty of this is that you don't have to set them up one by one for the different types. You can actually create a whole bunch of different types and have them all be created at the exact same time. So right now we're going to go concrete, and then we're going to grab one of these and we're going to go brick. So now we have three different types. We have brick, concrete, and metal solid. So let's go ahead and add a couple objects to this that would utilize that. So right here we have a metal pole. Let's go ahead and grab this one. This one's already pre-set up, so we're just going to reset it to untagged, no components, and then we're going to add this to that list right there. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing to this other one that's right next to it, so we can get the feeling. So currently those have just a mesh collider with no tags, and when you shoot at them, nothing will happen. So right now we have them set up for the metal solid, and then we're going to move on to the concrete. So let's grab this right here. So, right there, and we're just going to reset this like the other ones. So it just has the mesh collider, and let's grab this one as well. Do the same thing. So those objects are reset, no components, no tags, to the concrete, and then we have brick. Now brick would obviously be these brick walls, which are pre-set up, so we're just going to remove those. Set that. Now we have three different things set up, and each one have a few objects attached to them. So this one is brick, concrete, and metal. So we'll see how that transitions over once we actually use the buttons. The buttons down here will be create decal controllers. Once I click this, this will attach the appropriate controller script to the objects that have been assigned, and then set the appropriate options on them. In this case it will be marked as an environment, and for the objects that have the environment type set, it'll mark that set. So concrete, metal, etc., etc. So let's go ahead and see that work real quick. Ta-da! So we clicked the create decal controllers, it created the controller and set it to environment brick. So that environment brick wall there. And let's go ahead and click this object here. So now it's enviro metal solid. So as you can see, it set the appropriate options, and that object script is there. Now if we want to update the tags, because we're using the environment tag, we just click update tags, and all those objects are now marked as environment. In the case that we are not using tags and we're using the actual hit tag, it would update to the hit tag itself and not the environment tag. And of course, when you use the hit tag over the environment tag, that option would be set inside of the decal manager to check the tag. But in this case, we're just going to use environment tag, so we're not going to be checking the individual tag. So now that those objects are actually set up, we can actually open up the scene and play around with it. As you can see, the objects that I assigned are now fully functional. They have the scripts on them, they are tagged appropriately, and the decals and impacts spawn exactly as I want them to. So this is pretty easy to use. It's a pretty straightforward system. You just add the things you need and it'll start setting up the world for you. This is really handy, especially if you have like 50 objects that you want to assign or set up all at once for let's say a larger room like this one. So for a larger room, something like this, we'll probably have about 5 to 10 pieces just for this one thing right here. I went through and set them all up with this system right here, and it took about a few minutes just to do, instead of having to individually select every single object and then go in and manually assign them. So the Decal Set system is very helpful, and hopefully this gave you some insight on how to use it and what's upcoming in the future. Thanks for watching.